brought to you by the Every Dollar app. Start budgeting for free today. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's the Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create actual amazing relationships. Dr. John Delony, Ramsey personality, #1 best-selling author, is my co-host today. Also host of the ever-popular Dr. John Delony Show. If you check it out on Ramsey Networks and anywhere great podcasts are sold, you'll check him out there. He's our PhD around here. It helps folks with counseling issues, and it's going to work right into everything we do here today for sure. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Clay is in Amarillo, Texas. Hi, Clay. How are you?
Good, sir. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up in your world?
Oh, wind's blowing and we're dry. That's about it.
Sounds like Amarillo.
Yes, sir. I'm a rancher down here. I'm 25. Bought my first ranch, or bought my only ranch, when I was 21. I had a question on, I follow you guys on social media and stuff like that, listen to you on the radio, but you talk about not having debt, and I'm wondering how you run an operation without an operating note.
Mm-hmm. Well,
because even though cattle prices are through the roof right now, there's other things that are expensive as well.
Yeah. I'm sitting in a building that's about $600 million, and a studio that this studio is probably, I don't know, $10 million probably. The way we did that with a $300 million revenue, we started on a card table in my living room with absolutely no money. Just me, myself, and I. That was the whole freaking board of directors. And I started with the promise that I would never borrow money, because I'd gone broke borrowing money, and because I read the Bible and it said the borrower is slave to the lender, and I'm a simpleton and I believed it, and I'm just not borrowing money. So the way I have gone from a card table to where I'm sitting today without borrowing money is, it sounds like a Saturday Night Live skit, but to start with, Clay, I just didn't borrow money. I mean, that's it, period. I'm not going to borrow money for anything. Now, what that means then is, how do I run a business? How do I grow a business like I've grown this one without borrowed money? And that is, I grew it more slowly than some of my friends who are now out of business because the bank foreclosed on them during COVID. I grew it more slowly than some people thought I should, who thought they were smarter than me, who have less money than me now. I grew it slowly, frustrated the crap out of me because I wanted to go faster, because what we do is help people, and gosh, by going slowly, we're not helping as many people as we could help, and that's really frustrating. And I grew it slowly because it's all I had, because I can only use my profits to grow with. I can only use my profits to buy equipment with. I can only use my profits to add payroll and new team members with. It's my only option, and it forces me to be very selective. It forces me to say no to a lot of things, but then when times are tough, I don't have a note. And I'm still here, and I'm still growing, and we're still the #1 brand in the entire space in the nation. There's no one even close to us with the social media footprint in the space that we're in, or the podcasting or the YouTube footprints, or the revenue that we produce, and the amount of people interacting with Every Dollar. Nobody's even close. We freaking own the space. We are the 800-pound gorilla now. But that's the way we got there, is we were a starving little monkey that didn't borrow money, you know? And so that's it. I mean, it's not rocket surgery. It's just that, but it's hard to do because you're obviously a sharp dude. I mean, who goes and buys a ranch at 21? Well, it's not a wuss. You're obviously a stud, man. You're going for it. Who's out there operating a business like you're already operating at 25 years old? Way to go, man. You know, and so you got ambition. You got things you want to do. You have an idea in the shower every morning that you can't do if you don't borrow money. And some of those ideas suck, by the way.
Clay, how much in the hole are you? If you put all of your liabilities out on the table, how big's the hole?
About $500,000.
And I know you're not supposed to ask this in the 806, but how big's your ranch?
It is 250.
Okay.
Good for you.
What are you running on it?
Cattle.
Cows.
Yeah. Because cow prices, you said. Yeah.
Cattle.
Okay. Yeah. Cattle prices are up. And so, by the way.
And 9/10 of that is the place itself.
The dirt.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Like it's mortgage. I do owe a little bit of money on some cows. I've got 2 payments left on those. But other than that,
yeah.
that's the only debt that I have.
Well, you've pretty much avoided debt except for your real estate mortgage. And so that's that's far beyond what a lot of people in your world do. As you know, the farming and ranching world is big on debt. And they think they can't do it if they don't have an $800 million combine that runs circles by itself with a GPS and does a double backflip at the end of the row.
It's got a pool in the back. I rode in one of those, Dave. It was air conditioned. It was nicer than my car.
Yeah. Oh, way nicer. The stereo system's better.
Oh, yeah.
Much better. Hey, Clay, I want you to check out the Carbon Cowboys. These guys that are changing the way ranching is done, and their proposition is you don't have to borrow this kind of money for the fertilizer, for the equipment. It's just a radical shift, and they're net neutraling the dollar. They're dollar for dollaring it. So give them a shot too, just to check them out how they're doing farming. It's pretty impressive stuff.
Yeah. So what I would tell you this, Clay, is this: in the radio world, the broadcast world, it's like the farming world in the sense that everybody borrows money, but most people don't make it 10 years. They're out of business in a 10-year cycle because the risk that goes with the borrowed money. You feel the pinch. That's why you're asking the question.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're not struggling, but it's tight. We don't do anything extravagant.
No, but it makes you think. You have to stop and think, I got this note. Every time you get ready to do something, you got to think, I got to make this note.
And last year it didn't rain. It got pretty dicey, didn't it?
Oh, yes, sir. And the fires this spring.
Yeah,
that's right. There's fires. It's drought. I mean, it's tough. It's tough sledding.
What we are proposing is not only countercultural in America; it's super countercultural in the farming and ranching world. But the ones that do it have a longer life in business, and they have a better quality of life. But they grow slower.
They grow slower, and
they don't have. You don't go from 250 acres to 2,500 in 20 minutes.
But you have those. If you do it right, you have those. Anti-fragile moments when, let's say it all goes. Let's say there's a bad drought for 3 years, and you've just kept tortoise in the hare in it. You just kept plugging along, and your ranch got bigger by 10 acres, and you bought 15 over here, and you bought this. Eventually, the drought wipes out your neighbors, and they have to sell you their ranch for pennies on the dollar. And that's what, if you hang on and hang on and hang on.
That's what happened here.
Suddenly, I just tripled my footprint for very little money because I just went slow.
Yeah. The number of times I bought out vendors' inventory at pennies on the dollar, the number of times I bought out competitors' stuff at pennies on the dollar over the years because I'm sitting on the cash. I got no notes.
You're going slow.
And I'm the only guy that's boring.
It's so boring.
It's not sexy. It's not. Nobody thinks you're cool. You're not on the cover of Fast Company magazine.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, has been through 4 owners. This is The Ramsey Show. It doesn't take a degree in statistics to realize that this one stinks. 93% of undergraduate private student loans are co-signed. So when you're delinquent and drowning in private student loan debt, mom or dad or Uncle Joe is stuck in that financial stress along with you. But there is a way out. Why Refi? Why Refi offers a custom refinancing option with a fixed rate loan based on your ability to pay. And the average interest rate Why Refi offers is 3.9%, which can significantly reduce your monthly payment and decrease your total cost. Why Refi refinances your defaulted private student loans that other places won't touch. And I trust them to help you get out of debt. So don't be another statistic in the student loan swamp. Contact Why Refi at 844-2-RAMSEY or go to whyrefi.com/Ramsey. That's 844-2 to Ramsey, or the letter Y, then refy.com/Ramsey. The number one best-selling book is Building a Non-Anxious Life. That's his latest number one. Dr. John Delony, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. The best way to make the most of your money is by telling it what to do instead of wondering where it went. That's called a budget. Give every dollar an assignment. That's why we named the world's best budgeting app Every Dollar. And now over 50 million people have downloaded this thing. And if you haven't, that means you're strange. So you should. Go get it. Go check it out. Learn how to do a budget. Learn how to do a plan. Learn how to work with your spouse and make every one of your dollars behave. And suddenly you will start moving away from debt and towards wealth. It's amazing how that happens. You can download Every Dollar for free in the App Store or the Google Play locations. And, of course, you can go to everydollar.com and get started. Now, if you do the advanced version where you connect to your bank and all that stuff, we'll help you work through the baby steps. We'll help you do paycheck planning, lay everything out in great detail. There's all kinds of coaching available. This app is off the chain. Be sure and check it out. Every Dollar. You can download it for free, and you should. Tyler is in Kansas City. Hi, Tyler. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
So my wife and I are particularly in an interesting situation. We are trying to juggle between prioritizing saving up for a house to get her out of a job that's not the best environment within the next 2 to 3 years, or prioritizing the debt we already have, which is not much, and paying that off now. And so
I'm confused how you getting a house gets her out of a toxic environment.
So with her job, we actually have provided housing on space for where she works. So as soon as she quits the job, we don't have the housing that we live in.
Okay, so you could rent.
True.
I left university housing, and me and my wife rented a house. I was a dean of students at a fancy university. You can do it.
Okay. To further my question then, with the money that we have currently, should we just go right into renting? Because the renting expenses are going to be more than what we possibly could afford in the environment that we're in. We're saving up about $1,000 a month, not on top of the investing and all the other steps that we're doing with Every Dollar and the baby steps towards a house.
But you can't afford a house.
Is going to be.
You can't afford a house. You can afford the payment on a house, but you can't afford a house. Do you know the difference?
Yes.
Okay. I'm afraid you're going to wake up in 6 months and have gotten her out of this job, and then y'all got this house payment, and then you got this debt, and then she's going to end up pregnant, or y'all going to have a car emergency, and then you're going to have a mess.
Yeah, this is one toxic environment to another toxic environment.
Okay.
And I've lived in a house 2 different times that I really couldn't afford, and it has created so much tension in my home that it almost cost me my marriage. I can't tell you enough. Don't do that.
Okay.
Go rent a house and let the smoke clear on your marriage, on her, all that pain, all that toxicity, all that nightmare stuff. Let that smoke clear, and then it'll give you some time.
What is the nature of the toxicity at the work?
So 2 factors. One, she works right now between 60 and 70 hours a week in a labor-intensive job. She's a female. She's 120 pounds, so that's impacted. Secondly, the position that her authority is in is borderline emotionally abusive, and it's not a good environment. I mean, there's nothing physically going on, but it's just a really tough environment. It puts a lot of stress on her personally.
I'm not sure I completely understand, because sometimes I hear things that people say are emotionally abusive, like somebody said, hey, go get your job done. You're emotionally abusive. No, you're freaking lazy. Go get your job done. That's not emotionally abusive.
Yeah, and so that's not the environment I'm talking about. I'm talking about going back on their word, or overworking her, under-promising, stuff like that. And so that's where I'm personally in a space where, hey, I want her out of this position.
How long has she been in this position?
She's been in this position and the current position within the company for the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm. And how old are you guys?
So I am going on 27, and she's 26.
Okay. All right. Well, as far as I'm concerned, if I'm in your shoes, and I've been in similar situations over the years, there are two options. One is, this is so bad for real. We're not just using the fact that this is not just discomfort. There's a difference between discomfort and a toxic environment. If she's working 120 hours a week and she says, I'm not willing to work 120 hours a week, or I'm not willing to work 80 hours a week, or I'm willing to work this number of hours, then they fire her, then that's their option. But you can just start having like boundaries. Like when somebody starts speaking to you inappropriately, you say, hey, whoa, you can't talk to me that way. You can fire me, but you can't talk to me that way.
Absolutely.
So your wife's ability to say no to her or to this environment is part of the problem, her lack of boundaries. And that's why, and so if she cannot put up reasonable boundaries to say, okay, I can only work a reasonable number of hours. I'm 120 pounds. I can't lift, heavy boxes all day long, 16 hours a day. I can't do that. I can work 8 hours or I can work 10 hours. And I like my job and I like the benefits and I like the money you give me and I can do that. And I'm not going to be yelled and screamed at or cussed at. And so you got to talk to somebody else that way if you're going to. And suddenly bullies pull back then and don't bully as much. That's one option, is deal with the situation, suck it up and push on through. Or the other option is go rent something. But using this situation to justify doing something stupid and getting your family in a pinch and saying, oh, the only thing we could do to get away from this toxic wicked witch of the West is to go buy a house we couldn't afford and go bankrupt. These are two negative options. And I'm choosing between two negative options. No, let's go with C, none of the above.
And Tyler, I want to double click on what Dave said because it's really important for the character and the strength of your home. If you leave an environment because somebody kept beating you down and you have to, it takes years to heal from abuse. It disconnects you from yourself.
Sure.
If she has her head up high and said, you kept telling me that you were going to hire 3 people and you haven't, you're dishonest. I refuse to do work that I told you I'm physically unable to do. I can't work 90 hours a week. Like Dave said, I can work 50. I can work 60 in limited runs. And the rest of the time I got to be with my family. If y'all can't be people of character and integrity, I'm going to walk out that door. And when you walk out like that, it's emotional abusive. No, they're just not telling the truth. They're lying to you. But you walk out with your shoulders thrown back. And that sets the tone for your home. That sets the tone for the next job she applies to. It helps you see the world a little more clearly than walking through disconnected from yourself.
Yeah, that's a little bit more of taking the victor position than the victim position.
That's right.
Yeah, and that's setting a solid boundary with people who don't like boundaries. Generally drives them nuts, and they usually lose their minds, and they may fire you. I mean, so when people don't appreciate that they're standing on your property, they're taking some of your hours, they're taking some of your emotional well-being, and then you say, you can't do that anymore. I'm going to set up a boundary. I'm not going to give you as many hours, and I'm not going to give you my emotional well-being. You can't stand get off my lawn, and when you say that to somebody who's used to getting away with it, they generally go nuts.
Right. But I've had a boss that I said, if you say these things to me again, I'm going to walk out of that door. I've said that. Mm-hmm. And they circled back and said, man, I'm sorry. And it was offensive. It was rude what they were saying. But they said, I'm sorry. It won't happen again. But it didn't? It never did again. But it was me just saying, you can't swear at me in this meeting again. I'm going to get up and walk out of the room. And I'm sorry. You're right. I'm sorry. So there was just standing up. But I also had to be prepared, man. They could have said, well, you can take your bag and walk out that door, right? Yeah. They could do that too.
Because they're in that position.
They're in that position.
That's right. So if you got fired from a place you were going to quit if they kept screwing you, mm-hmm. That's not like a loss.
No. Yeah.
That's like a gain.
Right.
So, because you said you can't do this anymore, they go, oh, okay. Well, instead of leaving So I would recommend setting some boundaries at a minimum as a step one, and to lower the toxicity. I don't know that you'll get rid of it because you're probably dealing with a moron. But you can lower the level of moronic influence, and really you can. Yeah. You can just by limiting. It's what a boundary does. I'm putting up a shield here. You can't come inside the shield. I'm extending my personal space. You got all up in my stuff here, and I'm going to create a little room here. and you're in my personal space. And when you do that, it changes a lot of stuff for you. I'd recommend doing that as step one. Step two is if you get fired or decide you can't take it and you quit, go rent something cheap and go someplace. If you got to move out of the city, go move out of the city and rent something cheap. I don't care. But don't use it as an excuse to do something stupid.
Hey guys, it's Rachel Cruz here to tell you about a faith-based alternative to health insurance that can make healthcare more affordable. Christian Healthcare Ministries. CHM allows members to share each other's healthcare costs, and it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Step 1, choose the healthcare provider you want. Step 2, submit your eligible bills. And step 3, get reimbursed. CHM members take care of your eligible medical bills. With no networks and the freedom to choose your healthcare provider, CHM is the best option for Christians who want to take care of their families and help other believers. Find out more at chministries.org/budget.
Dr. John Delony, Ramsey personality, host of the Dr. John Delony Show, PhD in counseling, and he's here to help. The office hours are open. The phone number is 888-825-5225. So, John, this is interesting to me. I've been doing this show since 1992. So, 32 years. And the first year we went on the air, there was a huge problem in America with credit card debt. And there's still a huge problem. I'm doing no good. I'm not making any progress. There's still a huge problem with credit card debt. Google Trends recently reported in the U.S. how to lower credit card debt, in quotes, reached an all-time high as a search item. For those that don't know, Google Trends is part of the Google reports what people are searching for. There it is. Okay, so what this means is that more people than ever before, since Google, not ever, but since Google, are searching for how to lower credit card debt. That makes sense in 2024. We now know that credit card debt has gone over $1 trillion with a T dollars. So how do you pay off your credit cards fast? What do you do? Well, this is what we've been doing. As a matter of fact, if you like Google Dave Ramsey, the first thing you're going to hear is how to get out of debt, right, John? I mean, it's like they may not know I know how to do anything else, but they know I know how to do that, right?
It's like on your license plate.
It actually is. It says zero debt, on my license plate, on a very nice car. And so, but that's because the car doesn't have debt. That was the message, because you can't drive a car like that unless you have debt. Everybody knows that. But you can't drive a car like that if you've got debt. And so, here's an interesting thing. Here's something for you to think about, folks. We live in the most marketed to society, culture, in the history of mankind. In the United States of America, you receive more marketing impressions across your eyes and ears in a given day. More money is spent, more brain power and sophistication is spent to sell you things than any group of humans in the history of mankind ever at this moment. Marketing, selling things to you in ads and Google pop-ups or whatever it is you want to do, whatever version of advertising or marketing you want to think about, you get a diet out there of that's greater than man has ever gotten any time in history. No one has ever walked the earth that has been hammered like you've been hammered by marketing. That's a pretty bold and big statement, but it's also true. It's not hard to figure it out that that's the truth. And here's what's interesting. Among all of that, the most dollars that are spent to sell a single product line, more than any other product line, any other mindset, any other thing you want to sell, any other brand you want to sell out there, the most advertised and marketed product in dollars and in brain power by far in the most marketed to culture in the history of mankind is debt. More money is spent to sell you on getting in debt in the most marketed to culture in the history. This is a big deal. In other words, when you add up what MasterCard, American Express, Discover, and Visa spend in a year, it's more than all the professional sports make in a year. It's more than Egypt takes in for their entire economy in a year. Just to sell you those 4 pieces of plastic. And they are good at it. The things just magically show up in your mailbox, your inbox. Your dead dog from 4 years ago will be issued its own line of credit. And it'll show up in a credit card on your mailbox. Frou-Frou, the dead poodle, will get a credit card in America today. I've got it. I've got a copy of Frou-Frou, the dead poodle's dog. A guy sent it to me from New Orleans. He says, and a guy in North Carolina applied with a fraudulent Social Security number under the name Buck Naked and was issued a $20,000 line on a Visa card.
Wow.
Because they don't even look. They don't even check your credit on about 1 out of 10 of the applications. And so they issue these pieces of plastic like water going down a drain. And you're walking around like, I'm somebody because you're not somebody. You don't even necessarily breathe for you to get a credit card. You don't even necessarily have to be a breathing human to get a credit card. I've just proven that to you. These are not made up stories. It's the most aggressively marketed product in America today. And people are walking around going, I have a platinum, titanium,
it's a plastic version of a precious
plutonium
metal.
American Express card that you can't even cut up because it's made from plutonium.
Dave, can I tell you something embarrassing?
Mm-hmm.
In college, when I got out and I had student loan debt and I was broke.
Oh, I did.
And no, I did.
I got a gold Amex.
I got a card. I'm not lying to you. I called the number on the back and said, I need to talk to an account executive. They sent me through. I told her, thank you. I thanked her for taking a chance on me. And she was like, we just felt like, and I was like, hey, it's pretty awesome.
And she's recording the call. They're playing it back the next morning.
They're playing it right now. They're like, see, we're doing a service. I thanked her, man.
So what we teach people is, here's Wells Fargo Bank, have plastic surgery. Don't fall for this. You are a sucker to the man. You're a sucker to the largest marketing machine ever known to man. What's in your wallet? Money. That's what's in my wallet. Money. Because I don't have this crap in my wallet. I don't have to go to the chiropractor because there's 73 credit cards in my wallet and I sit sideways every day with my back pocket. So my back's out of alignment. I've actually found people that did that. They're back healed.
It's the George Costanza wallet.
Yeah, when they got rid of this. So plastic surgery, having a plastectomy will change your life. Dave, you don't have any credit cards? I don't have any credit cards. I haven't had any credit cards for 40 years. How do you... Well, by the way, I just got back. I took a little tour from London to Iceland. And I just got back day before yesterday. And you know what? I didn't have a credit card. It was amazing. You know what they took over there? Debit cards. Just like credit cards. They had no difference. And did the currency exchange, did the whole thing. And I actually had, a big old wad of cash in my pocket because I always carry, because American dollars are taken almost everywhere. It's amazing. They find a way to take them. If you go, you can go in the poorest country in the world and they'll go, yeah, I'll take that. But very few times, I found a few people that snooted me and said, you need a euro sometimes in Europe. But most of the time, you just walk around with a dollar. But, everywhere I was, they took plastic. And so I obviously had no issue. And I just dropped my little debit card in there. I have 4 pieces of plastic in my wallet, a debit card on my business, a debit card on my personal account, my driver's license, and my handgun carry permit. That's all that's in my wallet other than green presidents' faces. And lots of those. Of different kinds, by the way. I like click different colors or different faces on there. Yeah. So, guys, don't fall for this crap. And don't tell me your debit card is not safe. It's got the exact same fraud protection as your credit card. Go look it up on Visa.com. It's called a zero liability policy. Look it up on MasterCard.com. They both have the exact same phrasing on their websites, like they were owned by each other or something. But the debit card's got the exact same stuff. Listen, shut up. You're not going to get rich borrowing money at 18%. That's just straight up stupid on a string, okay? You've got to make a decision. I'm not going to live like this. And these people, they're stupid, man. They just keep doing it. Look at this one. New Wells Fargo credit card program with a novel feature. You can use it to pay your rent, but it may not be working out quite as well as the bank had hoped. Wells Fargo is losing as much as $10 million a month on this new card. So you're telling me people that pay rent with their credit cards, a credit card that was designed to help them pay rent that they couldn't afford. Oh, wait, so you're loaning money to broke people and you're bitching because they don't pay it. Shut up, Wells Fargo. You're getting what you deserve. You signed up for this trip. Guys, boys and girls, you got to decide. Are you going to be like everybody else? Everybody else is walking around collecting airline miles. Millionaires, they stack cash. This is the Ramsey Show. You've been gazelle intense, you've eaten more beans and rice than you knew existed, and now you're ready to make your biggest investment better. Blinds.com is a great way to dress up a room or your entire home. Whether you're comfortable with do-it-yourself projects or you don't even know what a Phillips head screwdriver is, well, trust Blinds.com to take care of you like Ramsey would. You can do the measuring and installation yourself, or you can let Blinds.com's professionals handle everything for you. Blinds.com offers a completely hassle-free experience. Count on them to deliver stylish window treatments from premium brands without the premium markup. You'll never have to deal with pushy salespeople in your home just to get a quote. But you can count on free shipping, free samples, and a 100% satisfaction guarantee so that you can rest easy. That's why we've recommended Blinds.com for over 10 years. Shop Blinds.com right now and get up to 45% off. That's Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions may apply. Dr. John Delony, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Dave is in Orlando. Hi, Dave. How are you?
Hi, Dave. I'm doing great. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Great. So my wife and I are really excited. So we are adopting our two foster kids. And,
awesome. Way to go. Them.
Thank you very much. We are super excited. They are 2 and 3 years old, brothers. And great. We just couldn't be happier. So should happen in August. And my question is, we've always tried to be really financially smart and good with our finances. Obviously, we want to pass that on to our kids. But being that they are in the system, they are going to get money every month, $650 a month per child until they're 18. Mm-hmm. And naturally, this is their money. I want to keep it for them. So my question is, what is the best way to go ahead and save this for them? Should I open up a brokerage account in their name? Should it be an UTMA? I was looking into a 529, but that's actually not needed because they're exempt from paying tuition in Florida. Mm-hmm. So what are your thoughts? What should I do?
What's your household income?
Right now it's $230.
Okay. All right. You're welcome to do whatever you would like to do. I would not do what you're doing. You're going to discover very quickly that it costs a whole lot more than $650 a month to raise a kid. And so I would dump the $650 a month into the budget and then just raise the kids. And as a part of raising the kids, I'm going to invest and become wealthy and leave them a big old pile of money and have some money for them when they come out of college and have some money for them. But you're not morally, ethically, and certainly not legally bound to set this money aside for them. And it's not inherently unholy to just mix it into the family budget because you're spending more than that on them. by far. You're going to spend a lot more than that on them.
Okay. Yeah, that was actually, so that was my wife's thoughts when we talked about this, or she had that idea as well. So, so you
and 529 is not needed, but if you just have mutual funds that are not in retirement that you're investing in, and those funds are nicknamed, I'm going to make sure this is to help them get their first house. This is to help them get started after they get married and they're 25, right? And you dump some money in there occasionally, and you try to, and then because you're going to be a multimillionaire if you're doing the stuff we're teaching. It sounds like you're very responsible. You're making $250,000 a year, and so if you've got a couple of accounts, laying around that got a couple $100,000 in them that are kind of earmarked for the kiddos, and you're going to help them buy their first house, or you're going to help them do whatever out of that. But there's no compulsion to keep it completely separate and clean, morally, ethically, legally, or anything. People do that with child support sometimes, or they do it with if a spouse passes away, you get Social Security money for the spouse that passed away to the kids. They get big checks, or not big checks, but good checks like you guys are getting. And so, that kind of stuff. And in all those cases, we just say there's no need to mix child support. Just mix it in the budget. There's no need to take the Social Security money and hold it aside. Just mix it in the budget. And what you guys are doing, you're going to be such great moms and dads because your heart is so pure on this. You guys are amazing. Thank you for what you do, what you're doing. And those kids are blessed to have you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm going to try not to cry, but we love them so much, and we weren't able to have kids biologically, but now that we're here and everything we've gone through, we know it was all for a reason, and we just couldn't be happier. And just one last comment, we are baby steps millionaires already, so we are on a good path. And last thing with the kids, we're getting $10,000 for each kid because I am a veteran as well. So I'm assuming with that too, we'll just throw it into our budget and they'll be set up. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, your biggest thing here is not the actual dollars that you leave them. As you know, your biggest thing is to transfer your value system, which got you where you are, called hard work and thrift and generosity. These are your financial values. You work hard. You don't. You've studied hard to get to be who you are. Teach them those things. Teach them live on less than you make. Teach them live on a budget with a plan. Teach them. When you were 3 and we adopted you, we started thinking right then about paying cash for your first house so that you never are in debt. And that will set you guys up to be millionaires real quickly. And but that comes with some strings. It comes with you being a good human, because I'm not going to give you this money if you're doing heroin.
Yeah.
And so this is just, you weave this whole narrative of handling money wisely as a part of your parenting structure. And John, that does change everything, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm just overcome a little bit, man. I'm getting choked up a little bit, but with the level of gratitude for a family like Dave, who took one of the most painful experiences, unable to have kids, and they grieved it, and then they said, okay, what's the next thing for us to do as a family? And they're going to adopt two little brothers, and it's beautiful now, and I know it's going to be hard. It's going to be a hard road to hoe, and it's a pretty amazing thing that they're doing. But I think you're right. I think parents get so caught up in stuff. I want to be able to give them this thing and give them this thing. And man, the greatest gift you can give your kids is a living example of values in the real world, right? Like let him see you tip well. Let him see you honor that waitress who's the only person running all these tables and the food wasn't that great. Like, let the kids see you be who you are. And that, man, money's awesome. Money's nice, but let's transfer values.
There you go. Love it. Steve's in Wilmington, Delaware. Hey, Steve, how are you?
Oh, Dave, thanks. Dr. John, thanks for taking my call. I appreciate it.
Sure. How can we help?
Okay. Well, I feel like I'm stuck in the mud. I read your book, Total Moneymaker, with the new one. I've been following the steps. I think I'm on baby step 4, but somehow I got backwards, and my emergency fund that I feel is in a brokerage account. in a smart investor fund. So my question to you is, should I leave that there and rebuild the emergency fund in a money market account? I think I could fund it probably in 3 to 4 months for sure.
That's fine.
But
you do need a separate emergency fund. Here's what happens that I had to learn because it killed me. The first time I ever saved $10,000 and I had to name it an emergency fund instead of an investment, and I put it in a stupid money market account and it wasn't making anything, and then I could start investing. The first time I did that, because it's the only $10,000 I'd ever had in my life, or since I've been broke anyway. Since I went broke, it was the only time I had $10,000, and I'd worked so hard to get that $10,000, and now I got to not invest it. For a math nerd, that just broke my heart.
Right.
And I had to figure out that the emergency fund, the purpose of it, of that $10,000 in that example, is not an investment. The emergency fund, I always make, when I'm doing live events, I make the crowd say, not an investment. 4,000 people say, not an investment, right? It's insurance. Everybody say insurance. Insurance, right? And what does insurance do? It costs you money to protect the things that make you money. That's what insurance does. And that's what your emergency fund does. It sucks if you look at it as an investment. It's not an investment, though. It's insurance. Yeah. And so the money that you're not making, what we call opportunity costs, because it's in a high-yield savings instead of in a brokerage account, the money you're not making is your cost of that insurance policy.
I call it my soul tax. I pay 4 to 5% every month to sleep soundly.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah. That's it. So, yeah, Steve, that's a technicality in your case because you've got it dialed in. You know what's going on. Your intellect has grasped what you're supposed to do. So, yeah, just get you a high-yield savings account and dump 3 to 6 months of expenses in there as your emergency fund. And just anytime you look at it and want to puke a little, just say, not an investment. It's not an investment. It's insurance. And when I buy homeowners insurance, I don't say, oh, that was fun. I always go, it's something I got to do because it's smart to protect that asset, but it costs me money to protect that asset. That puts this hour of the Ramsey Show in the books. Brought to you by the EveryDollar app. Start budgeting for free today. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's the Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create actual amazing relationships. Thanks for hanging out with us, America. We're glad you're here. Open phones at 888-825-5225. #1 best-selling author of the book Building a Non-Anxious Life, PhD in counseling, and host of the Dr. John Delony Show. Ramsey Personality is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Jump in, and we'll talk to you about your life and your money. Hillary is with us. Hillary is in Salt Lake City. Hi, Hillary. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I appreciate the chance to be able to talk to you.
Honored to speak with you. How can we help?
So I just see a lot of people my age or younger bragging and boasting about their nice cars, houses, and vacations. And I just feel like I'm losing at life. I live a pretty humble lifestyle, but what am I doing wrong? How do I afford this?
You said people your age. What is your age?
I'm 33.
Okay. You're single?
Yes.
Okay. What do you make?
I make $60,000 before taxes.
Good for you. What do you do?
I'm a health educator.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Fun. All right. Do you have a lot of debt?
I actually have no debt except for my mortgage, which I only owe $140,000.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, this is the problem that the millennial, your generation, was one of the first ones to really, really struggle with it. Rachel Cruz, my daughter, wrote a #1 best-selling book talking about this whole thing of the power of social media and the power of, it used to be that we would say, don't keep up with the Joneses. Have you ever heard that old saying?
Of course.
Yeah. But the problem was in those days, it wasn't as hard to keep up with the Joneses because they lived next door, and you saw them drive in their car, but you also saw them have a big fight. And you also knew that their kids were messed up, and you knew this and you knew that. So, when they got a car, it wasn't as big a deal because you kind of knew some of the dirt too, right? But on social media, your only thing you're looking at is the highlight reel. You're only looking, because nobody posts on there, "Oh, my husband just got me a 1992 Honda, #blessed." Nobody does that, right?
And nobody posts the 3 weeks after the beach vacation and the fight around the credit card bill.
Because we can't buy groceries and diapers.
Yeah, they don't post that.
And so what you're seeing, and really our whole culture, even old people like me that look at social media, we all can fall prey to this because we're not seeing reality. What we're seeing is only what, have you ever seen these pictures of these little, like all the little children in the little, like they're 5 and 4 and 6, and they're all like wearing little white suits, and they're on a picnic blanket, and they're at the park, and it's like, oh, we're at the park. When I went to the park with 3 kids, it looked like freaking Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. One of them's in the mud, the other one's pulling the other one's hair. We wouldn't have had a picture like that in a million years. Can you imagine taking Rachel Cruz at 4 years old to the park and expecting her to behave? Not a chance. I don't know how these people get those. Are those mannequins? How do they get them to sit like that to take that picture? And that's what you're comparing to.
They push a button now and it takes 1,000 pictures at once and it catches one. And it's like, that's it, right? Hey, so
Photoshop their own kids.
Hillary, where are you seeing this? Are you seeing it on social media? Are you getting your friends texting you about it? Where are you seeing it?
Just kind of everywhere. I mean, social media is a big part of it, obviously, with TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, but also just, at work, someone says, "Oh, I'm going to the Bahamas for 2 weeks," or, "Oh, look at my new Escalade," and it's just like,
have you ever been to the Bahamas?
No, but I'm like, your Escalade costs more than
Let me just tell you, there's a couple places there that are nice, but there's a whole lot of dumpy crap with one good picture on the website too. I mean, it looks like 1960s Holiday Inn down there a lot of times. Be careful with that one. I love the Bahamas. I just love it. But anyway, yeah. But even Atlantis is getting really old. I'm just saying.
Here's Hillary. Here's the. I think it's a both and.
Yeah.
That Escalade is actually really an amazing car. They're very nice. And 99% chance that's not real money that bought that. And so if you just called into the show and said, "I'm a 33-year-old single female, I make 60 grand, I only have 120 grand left on a house I bought myself,"
we would be going, touchdown!
We would celebrate you as like the model. Like I'm looking and saying, I hope my daughter Josephine is in that kind of situation. If she finds herself 33, making 60 grand in Utah, and she's unmarried, I hope she's exactly in the situation you're in. That'd be amazing.
You're amazing. You've done a great job.
You're doing it right.
I guess.
You're the indie filmmaker, and all you have is a camera, and you're telling real stories, and you can't compete with the Godzilla movies that are made in computer labs. That's what you're doing.
Well, that makes me feel better because I just, and I also recently just paid cash for my master's degree. And so all that money that I had saved, I'm just like, that could have been a vacation or a car. I shouldn't have done that. And
dude, you just put an investment in yourself for the next 50 years of your life.
You traded a master's degree for Bahamas. This is a good trade.
I hope so. Oh, man. But yeah, I guess it's nice to have some reassurance from you guys.
Yeah, and here's the other thing. I had to go through the thing when I was a little bit younger than you when I went broke. I was 28, and I was driving a Jaguar when I went broke. And it broke my heart to drive a hoopty after that. And I drove this horrible old vehicle. But I, by then, had become so disgusted with me and how I was behaving with the people you're talking about. I was buying stuff that for other people to look at. And I got all that completely fried out of my soul when I went broke. And I don't buy anything now for anybody except for Sharon and me. I don't even care if my kids like it. As a matter of fact, I kind of like it if they don't like it. So I buy stuff 100%. I drove a really nice car today because I really like that car. I don't even care if anybody sees it. I like the car. And I had a good time driving it here. And that's the only reason I buy it. So, but I used to have to pull up in those hoopties. I drove a car that was loaned to me that was at 90% Bondo. And the vinyl roof was torn loose across the front. So when you drove it, it filled up with air. It looked like a parachute on top. And so I would pull up at a stoplight after having driven a Jaguar, and the top would settle.
It would deflate.
It would deflate. Come back down at the stoplight. Meanwhile, I'm sitting next to people in nice cars that just got home from the Bahamas. And I'm looking at them going, what am I doing wrong? And what I finally realized that today, if you did that, if you pulled up next to somebody at a stoplight today, the average car payment at that stoplight is $750. See, I like what you said.
Yes.
Your verbal comment was perfect.
You're winning, Hillary. Ugh. Hey, okay, Hillary. Can I poke at one quick thing before we go to break?
Sure.
How much of these videos you're seeing, these pictures you're seeing of these trips, are reinforcing a sense of loneliness?
Probably a lot, because I feel like they just can go do whatever, But
okay, I want that to be.
Good
I want
question.
that to be where your emphasis is, not on trying to get the vacation. Should I get a master's degree and pay for it with cash or go on vacation? Of course, get the master's. I want you to start creating opportunities to have friends and community and connection and laughter right where you live. Start cultivating that, and it's going to make the other shiny stuff. It's just gonna not be that big a deal. You're right where you need to be.
Hey guys, here's a quick math refresher. There are only 24 hours in a day. So you and your team need to streamline time-consuming tasks to focus on the activities that actually make money. Smart businesses are realizing that to reduce headaches as they scale, they need NetSuite by Oracle. NetSuite is the #1 cloud financial system, bringing accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR into one platform. With NetSuite, you reduce IT costs because NetSuite is cloud-based. You cut the cost of maintaining multiple systems because you've got one source of truth. And you improve efficiency by bringing all your major business processes into one platform, slashing manual tasks and errors. So join the 37,000 plus companies, including Ramsey Solutions, that have done the math and are boosting their efficiency with NetSuite. And right now, download NetSuite's popular KPI checklist designed to drive the right behaviors for your business absolutely free at netsuite.com/Ramsey. That's netsuite.com/Ramsey to get your free KPI checklist. Couple of books to tell you about or remind you of. For one thing, many of you are looking for the simple, straightforward plan to get out of debt, work the baby steps. Well, the book that taught everybody the baby steps is called The Total Money Makeover. We're celebrating that book because, wow, now it's actually, 20 years, 25 years old, 20 years old, whatever it is. We're celebrating the anniversary of the book, and it's just came out with a new version of it, updated it. And for $20, you get the Total Money Makeover and 3 months of Every Dollar Premium for free. So for less than a movie ticket or a few drinks at Starbucks, you can invest in changing your life. Go to RamseySolutions.com, get the new anniversary edition of the Total Money Makeover. It includes 3 months of the premium version of Every Dollar. Also, one of my best friends in the world is a guy named Dr. Henry Cloud that wrote a book called Boundaries. and he's a good friend of John's as well, well-known psychologist. Boundaries is what made Henry a household name for some of you. He's also written plenty of other books. Necessary Endings, Integrity are two that come to mind, and always about relationships and business, and he's a psychologist, and so he's always writing in those veins. And he did something a little risky for him. And he sent me the manuscript, and I read it about 6 months ago when he was in the middle of it, and I had tears running down my face. It is, I read everything that Henry writes. Number one, he's a world-class thinker and author, but number two, he's a good friend. And this is a book completely different than anything he's ever done. It's called Why I Believe, a psychologist's thoughts on suffering, miracles, science, and faith. So it's my good friend Henry explaining why he believes in God. Because he runs in an intellectual world, a bunch of nerds, and he said, I've always wanted to tell my friends these things, but I sometimes lose the courage to do it in person, and can't find the right venue, and it's uncomfortable. And they always wonder these things about me because they know I'm a person of faith, but they didn't know why, and they couldn't juxtaposition that with their science knowledge,
Yeah, Henry and I were talking a few weeks ago, and I haven't seen him this clear-eyed and excited about getting a book out. I mean, this one's sitting on his chest, and it sounds pretty remarkable. I can't wait to dig into it.
Yeah, his last book was a number one or a national bestseller as well. Trust. It just came out about a year ago, I guess, and all about how to build trust and how to regain trust after it's broken and those kinds of things. We had him on the show talking about that. But this is completely, it's a departure for him, and I highly recommend it. Why I Believe. It's very well done. It's if you ever wondered, there it is. You ever wondered why bad things happen? How can a God exist if bad things happen? Oh, yeah, that's classic doctrinal juxtaposition there, right? So how is it that we could have little children suffering and there be an all-loving God? How is that possible? How can you figure that out and work that through from a philosopher's viewpoint or theologian's viewpoint? Yeah, it's very interesting. So Henry, as a psychologist, tackles all this. Why I Believe is a brand new book. It comes out today. I recommend it highly. Christy is with us. No, I'm sorry.
Chastity.
Chastity is with us. I'm sorry. I half looked at it. In San Francisco. Hi, Chastity. How are you?
I'm so good. How are you guys today?
Better than we deserve. What's up?
So I kind of had a awakening moment today. Kind of threw my hands up in the air, and I'm totally at a loss. So I'm calling in to get some advice on a credit card, of course. I have a $13,000 credit card. Actually, it was $15,500. And I started the baby steps, and I got it down to $13,700. But it's a credit card with interest rate of 26.9, I think. I got it when I was younger. But I've had it for like 10 years, and it's gotten its way up there. And now I'm starting to be like, how do I get this down? The interest rate is so high. Every month it goes up to I think it's $330 interest alone. Minimum payment of $450. So I'm just kind of really upset with myself. I have a lot of anxiety, and it's kind of just gotten out of control. I'm thinking about doing the balance transfer, but then you were like, no, it's just, I just don't know what to do.
What do you make, Chastity? What's your income?
So it kind of differs because I'm a flight attendant and my hours are kind of all over the place. But this month I'm making probably $5,000 without taxes taken out. So probably $60,000 a year. And I don't have a lot of other things. It's just the credit card. My car's paid off. I do pay $1,600 in rent because of San Francisco. But I really don't have anything else other than this stupid credit card.
How did you end up in San Francisco as a flight attendant?
Well, I was kind of lost because I don't have a college degree, and I was like, how am I going to be able to make it in the world? And I love traveling, so I just jumped
How did you end up
into
in
it.
San
And this is
Francisco, though? Being a flight attendant in San Francisco is unusual.
So we have huge bases in these big cities, New York, San Francisco, those kind of places. So I just got stuck with San Francisco, kind of.
Oh, they assigned it
where
to
they
you.
put me.
Could you transfer
Yeah.
to a much, much cheaper place to live?
No, well, and I have a transfer in right now to Houston.
Okay.
Might
Yeah,
be a
that would be
little
like
bit
half.
cheaper. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of stuck here at least for a year because I am in a lease.
Okay. Do you is your schedule so inflexible that you don't know? Or let me ask this: do you find
So
days?
I know a month.
Okay.
I know a month in advance. Yeah. So like next month, I'm only making $39,000.
So what are you doing?
month
What are
I'm
you doing in your off
On
time?
your off days, yeah.
So the FAA has regulations on how much we can work. We can only work 6 days in a row. So on my off days, I'm at home.
So the thing I know about anxiety is the more you think about it, the more powerful it becomes. And
Yeah.
the only way I've seen anybody be successful, myself included, dealing with anxiety is to head directly through the middle of it with action. And so my challenge to you would be, if you already know, I'm going to have $3,900 next month, which is about $1,100 less money than I normally bring home. You could already be lining up Uber jobs, Uber Eats jobs. And is that sexy? No. Does anybody want to be doing that? No. But you could drive from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. stuck in that car making a chunk of money, and you could have this debt knocked out like in 3 or 4 months, and it'd be gone from your life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's just.
I know.
Yeah, and this is where my anxiety comes into play because I was paying $1,000 on it before when I started the baby
Hold on,
step.
whoa, stop. I want to stop you right there. I want to stop right there. Anything that happened yesterday, I want to wipe it off because it's just bleeding all over today. Let's simply make a plan moving forward and act on that plan. What you know is you're going to have fewer days to work next month. You're going to be at home, just sitting at home. Why not take one of those mobile jobs that came out of your area and just get after it? It will be uncomfortable. Yes. Annoying. Yes. All those things. Yes. And we're playing a 120-day game. 4 months down the road, we're going to not owe this debt anymore because we worked really hard for 4 months. You see what I'm saying?
Your anxiety will go down when you're working all the time. Your anxiety will go down when you're paying off the debt that's giving you anxiety.
And see, Dave, my family's kind of like you. They're like, you just need to go to work. You need to get over it.
So
and
what's
go
wrong
to
with
work.
it? No, I didn't say get over it.
No, not get
I said
over it.
go to work.
Go through it. Don't get over it. You
Don't
can't
get
just
over it. Go through it.
Go through it.
But why not go? What's wrong with going to work?
No, nothing.
Okay, good.
And that's
Good, because that's what you got to do, kiddo. That's the answer to your question. Because otherwise, you're just sitting on the couch worrying.
And you're worried about this
You're a big old
interest
pile
rate?
of anxiety on the couch.
A race? Who cares about the interest rate? Just go straight through it. $13,000. You can knock this out.
If you paid off in 3 months, interest rates are irrelevant mathematically.
Doesn't matter. That's right.
This is the Ramsey Show. I've been doing this show for over 30 years, and some of the saddest calls I have taken are from situations that are completely preventable.
Yeah, and what's so hard is I feel like one of those, especially the ones that I'm like, oh, it's terrible, are people that call in and their spouse has passed away suddenly and they don't have life insurance. We actually took a question of a lady and she had 3 kids, pregnant, and husband didn't have life insurance. And I'm like, I can't even imagine. Or even if it was opposite, right? If a mom passed away, there's a dad with kids and trying to figure out, how am I going to afford childcare? How do I outsource some stuff that maybe she was doing? And it just takes the grief and the sadness of something like a sudden death to a whole new level. Like when you have to think through, how am I going to pay my bills?
How am I
in
going
the
to
middle
eat next week?
Yeah, in the middle of all that grief, like it's terrible. And so life insurance is the one thing, especially as a mom with 3 little kids, that I'm like so big on for people to get because it's inexpensive. Xander is the place that Winston and I actually get all of our life insurance, and we keep re-upping it because I'm like, I just want it there. Like there's something about that safety of knowing that you have money if something suddenly happens.
And it doesn't cost much because Xander shops among a gazillion different companies. It doesn't cost much. You just have to admit that someday you're not going to be here. You got to say it out loud, and you got to say, I'm going to say I love you to my family by taking care of them and taking the time to put this stuff in place. The cost of stinking pizza.
It really is. So that is one thing to do, to say I love you to your family. So
we've used Xander for all of our family's needs for insurance for many years, including, of course, term life insurance. To get a free quote, go to 800-356-4282. That's 800-356-4282, or go to Xander.com. Dr. John Delony, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Steve's with us in Boston. Hi, Steve. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Better than I deserve, sir. What's up?
So a couple of years ago, my wife passed away unexpectedly after having her second child. So I'm finally mentally, I think, in a place where I can go back to the finances and try to tackle what we had begun. My question becomes, it's student loan based. Should I withdraw funds from my TSP to pay off my student loans and just move forward with everything from that point, starting fresh, or maintain my TSP and just make larger payments into student loans?
Wow. How old are you?
40.
How old was she?
Same age. When she passed, she was 38.
Yeah.
What was her name?
I'd rather not.
Oh, okay.
On
Good
the
call.
air.
Good call.
Okay. And it was childbirth?
Yeah. He was born substantially premature, so he had probably 5 months in a NICU. And he still has some medical issues. So.
But she passed during childbirth, is what you're saying.
Yeah, shortly after,
okay.
within a day or two.
Okay, I'm so sorry, Steve. Yeah. What do you do, man?
So I work for the government, actually.
Mm-hmm. And TSP, yeah. And so, what's your income?
Salary, $105,000, and then I collect VA disability on top of that, and that's about $30,000 a year.
Okay, so you got $145,000 to work with, and what savings you had, the co-pays and the out-of-pocket portion that the insurance didn't cover wiped it out.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Were these student loans, any of them hers, or are they all yours?
No, they were all mine.
Okay. All right.
Okay. All right. And how much debt is the student loan?
About 115, give or take 32 federal, and then the remainder, I think it's 85,000 private.
Okay, but 115 total. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And I think you said you have 2 children, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. All right. So you have a 2-year-old, and how old's the other one?
4.
Okay. Wow, man. You got your plate full, brother. You're amazing. I'm so proud of you for just getting up every morning. Wow. Well, in the middle of all this strain, raising 2 little ones, one of them a preemie, and going through the tragedy that you've been through, I think you've done really well to just be where you are. Because a lot of people, you could have really done some really dumb things in the last 2 years and had good reason to have not had your brain working well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think you've done a really, really good job of holding this together. Way to go.
Appreciate it.
The mathematical answer and the correct answer is no, don't take money out of your TSP to clear the 115. Although what you're trying to say, what I'm hearing in this story is enough pain already. I don't want any more pain. I've had enough pain. I've got pain. I don't need any more. I don't want to sacrifice to pay off this student loan debt. I just want this crap to go away. But the problem is when you pull the money out of the TSP, you're going to get the 10% penalty plus your tax rate, which is 35%. So you're going to pay 45 cents on the dollar to pull this money out. 45% interest you're borrowing money at to get rid of your student loan. No, don't do that.
Okay.
That's the answer. It's it would temporarily feel really good to have a win, you know, and so that's what motivates you to think this way. And I'm really glad you called. I'm going to beg you not to do that, even though I completely understand the pain threshold that you're dealing with. And so what I'm going to do is tighten down the budget, and it's going to take you. You know, if you said 145,000 and we live on 110, then it's going to take you 3 years to clean this up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I'm going to do. You're going to be 43 and you'll be debt free, and you'll be continuing to rebuild your life and have this new version of what tomorrow looks like that you're leaning into, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking along the same lines. I think I just needed somebody to validate it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, listen, have you been through Financial Peace University ever?
No, actually, I haven't.
Okay, I'm going to give that to you as our gift. I want to come alongside you and let you, because that'll give you some a safe place to learn, and even a group of people to be with while they're learning the same things while you're processing, because you've been processing a lot in the last 24 months. Agreed?
100%.
Yeah.
Can you hear us when we tell you that we're proud of you?
Yes. It's nice to hear. Believe me.
Because I know you've had a lot of long days and long nights and really dark nights, and there's nobody there cheering you on when you're changing diapers and you're changing out, pick lines, whatever you're having to do. And we just want to know. We want you to know we see you, and we're grateful for you, man.
Yeah. My son's got a 4-year-old and none of the other problems, and the 4-year-old's enough.
Yeah, he shows up kind of haggard sometimes. Yeah,
he ain't got none of the other stuff. He's just got the 4-year-old, and that's enough. I'm just saying. Just throw in a 2-year-old for the heck of it, and mix in some of this other stuff. Man, wow. You're a stud, man. Hey, we're here for you. If you need us, you call us anytime. We love you, and you hang on. Christian will pick up, and we'll get you signed up for Financial Peace, and we'll walk with you while you move into this next phase of life the way you didn't think it was going to look. Ouch.
That's one of the few things, Dave, I cannot wrap my head around. I can't wrap my head around going home and having the house be quiet and having my wife not be there, and then to think I'm going to make good choices the following minute. I just can't wrap my head around it. It's tough.
Yeah.
My heart goes out for people.
Well, we've designed our whole estate plan that I die first, and there's a reason.
Yeah.
It's because Sharon has a plan. But
I can imagine your estate attorney being like,
what happens if you die, Sharon? And she's like, that's not going to happen.
The estate attorney was like, yeah.
Have you seen the way he eats? No, there's no way. I'm not. She walks 8 miles every morning. There's no chance he's going to outlive me. So, I can joke about it because it keeps me from crying. But I'm with you. I can't get my head around that. And the sad thing is on this money stuff is that when tragedy happens, and you can give tragedy a bunch of different names, but death of a loved one is certainly tragedy. The math on this stuff doesn't stop.
No, that's the hardest part, man.
And so the negative math of the debt just keeps piling up, and the positive math of the investments just keeps piling up.
Right.
Money doesn't care.
Right.
It doesn't have a soul. It doesn't give you a day off because you're having a bad day. it doesn't give you, it doesn't take a day off because you're not working hard. It's the hardest working when you get working for you.
But what you said what you said to this good guy was so true. I just want to stop hurting. I just want to stop hurting. And sometimes at 11 o'clock at night when the kids are asleep and I'm just scrolling by myself, I'll take the 45% hit. I just want this to go away and I'll be able to breathe again.
I need a win.
And you just need a friend to say, hey, please don't do that.
Yeah.
Please don't do that.
Yeah. Well, we'll be your friend.
Yeah, we'll walk with you, man.
That's what we do. And we're honored to be your friend for just a moment here. That's what we do for America. This is The Ramsey Show. Your home is probably the biggest purchase you'll ever make. And with the real estate market like it is now, you'll need a mortgage company you can trust. That's Churchill Mortgage. You guys, buying a home is not a button push. It's a process. It takes building a relationship with an expert who will dig into the details and give you peace of mind without busting your budget. Churchill is one of the highest rated lenders in the country. And they're Ramsey trusted because they do what's right for you. Go to churchillmortgage.com to get started. Dr. John Delony, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Thank you for joining us, America. Today's question comes from Christian in Tennessee. My wife and I went to college and racked up significant student loans. The crux of our problem is that part of it was on a Parent Plus loan that's under her father's name. Her father and mother would like to get rid of that loan. They want us to take it on. We're in no way, shape, or form in a position to take on what has now turned into a $60,000 loan. We feel bad, want to help out, but don't know what to do. I hate Parent Plus loans.
I do too. Thanks for picking me up there. My headphones got all tangled up and I was stumbling and bumbling. Okay, Dave, tell me if this rings true with you. I'm 18 years old. Mom and Dad have it in their heart that they want to make me happy, so they co-sign for this loan, for this thing that...
That's not a co-sign.
It's a Parent Plus loan.
They just borrowed it.
They borrow the money on a thing that we can't afford. Assuming there was not an agreement around the kitchen table that we're going to take this Parent Plus loan, but you're going to be responsible for it. Now... they're realizing, this is a $60,000 loan, and they're not in shape to pick it up, and we can't keep carrying this thing, so we need y'all to take it on. At the end of the day, Mom and Dad signed the loan. They signed the loan.
Yeah. There's
right?
Legally, just from a legal perspective, obviously, Christian does not owe the money. His mom and dad owe the money, period. End of story, okay? So if you just say no, they got to pay it legally. Now, morally... did you promise them or did she promise them, her father and mother, did she promise them that she would take on the loan after she graduated? And they just took the loan out on her behalf on a handshake morally. If that's the case, then you have a different kind of a contract, although it is a contract. It's not a legal contract, but it's a morally binding. She gave her word, in which case you guys have a loan. Now, you can't just take on the loan. You can take on the payments. You could pay off the loan. You're not in a position to do that, but you could pay extra payments and pay off the loan. You can treat it like it's your loan, but legally, it never comes out of their name until it's paid off. You can't just decide, I'm going to move this to somebody else's name. They don't let you do that, okay? And there's not a consolidation that consolidates your loan into my name. There's no such thing, okay? Right. So it's going to stay there in their name if you pay payments and you pay extra payments to get it paid off until it is paid off. But I'm with John. I think the thing that is not in your question, not in your email here, Christian, is Did your wife promise her mom and dad at the time they took out the loans that she would take it on after graduation? If she did, then the two of you need to take it on.
100% you need to take it on.
If she didn't, then I'm sorry that they are inconvenienced by their former decisions. Her mom and dad took on a loan. I'm not really sorry. That was sarcasm. But yeah, big girl, big daddy, big mama done signed up for this thing, and then they're going to dump it on the kids because I don't like it now? Yeah.
And to get a Parent Plus loan, that means you've taken out a whole bunch of other loans too that is your wife's probably carrying, right? And if you met at college, you probably got student loans too. So I can see this whole thing being a big mess. Hey, Dave, and this is why we say this over and over and over and over. The number of times this turns into a rift in the relationship between parents and their kids is so high.
Yeah, it's approaching 100%.
Just don't do it because you're gonna pay for it relationally down the road. It's just not worth it.
Don't borrow money for other people and don't co-sign for anything ever under any circumstances. 100% of the time, this goes sideways, boys and girls. So my little brother needed a car, so I borrowed the money. 100% of the time. My boyfriend wanted a car, so I borrowed the money. 100% of the time, you end up being a caller on this show and entertain the rest of America with your foolishness.
Yeah. If your little brother needs a car and you can give him one, give it to him. But don't borrow money and say, okay, we're going to have a payment plan.
Your kid wants to go to college. You want to make them happy? Teach them to work. Tell them pick a college they can afford. Or don't go to college. Go be a welder. I don't care, but don't go in debt. Go spend $10,000 and go to code school and make $150,000 coding. Okay, but don't go in debt. This student loan stuff is absolutely stupid. It's so out of control. People are putting off having children and buying homes because of student loans. We must forgive them, but we continue to make them. This is so intellectually dishonest. Out of one side of these politicians' mouth, they whine and cry about the poor little people who have gotten themselves destroyed by these student loans, and it is horrible. And out of the other side of their mouth, they keep making the stupid loans. Congress, hello. If you have screwed up the culture with these loans, stop making them. Hello. What other time in history could an 18-year-old go down to the bank and convince a banker to loan him $145,000 to go play beer pong? What other time in history could this happen? Every time in history, a banker would have looked at you and said, "You a dadgum fool, son."
There's a great comedian. He said, "It's basically a small business loan, and I'm the business. You shouldn't loan me money." Right? It just doesn't make any sense.
It's the dumbest program ever, but it was all predicated on the idea that education solves everything. And education doesn't solve stupidity, turns out. It exasperates it. So, especially when you add with education the idea I need to go to a famous school. I need to go to a school that's well known. So now I'm really going to go deeply in debt and get a degree in left-handed puppetry so I can owe $260,000 and be a barista. This is what this crap has created. And you and I, boys and girls, the taxpayers are paying for that. Christian, I'm so sorry you're in the middle of this mess. I'm sorry, you just got me riled up. But I just hurt for you folks. It hurts, and it's just, it angers you when you look at $1.7 trillion of this stupidity floating around, and Christian and his father-in-law are now at odds. Think about that.
Oh, yeah.
Thanksgiving dinner does
They're not going to be able to go to the holidays.
Thanksgiving dinner tastes different.
And when he buys a car, his father-in-law is going to say,
he's going to give him a stink eye.
You bought a car, but you didn't.
You didn't take care of the loan I took out?
What kind of man are you? What kind of integrity do you have?
What do you mean? It's like, and then you're going to say, well, you ain't going to see your grandkids. You know? And this is where this is going. I mean, it doesn't go well. This doesn't end. This story is not a pretty story. And bless his heart, he's writing on behalf of his wife. It's her parents. Oh.
And let's say, Christian, we talked about this earlier. Let's say your wife did. She shook her parents' hand and said, "Mom, I just have to go to this college so bad, and all they'll let me take out is $100,000. If y'all take out the other $60,000, I'll pay you back when I get a job." then you and your wife need to sit down and map out a plan
to pay this.
And it's going to cost you your quote unquote following your passion. It's going to cost you your right now dream. Y'all got to go get a whole bunch of jobs, and you're going to have to probably get roommates. Y'all going to have to live a different kind of life than you thought because y'all set this stuff up years ago. And unfortunately, the world let y'all do this. Before the world let you buy alcohol, they let you borrow $150,000. Before the world let you get tattoos.
You can't buy a firearm.
You can't buy a gun or get a tattoo or buy cigarettes. But, man, you can sign this paper right here. And unfortunately, that's the world you're in. Math doesn't care how you feel. Y'all got to figure out a way to get this thing paid off. And just scratch and claw and get it done. Your relationship with your in-laws and tension in your family tree is not worth it. It's just not.
Yeah.
It's not.
If she said she would pay it. If she didn't say that she would pay it, then you've got a different kind of difficult conversation, which is, Mom and Dad, she didn't make you a promise to pay this. We're in no more of a position to pay it than you are. I'm really sorry. We can't take this on. We love you, but we can't take this on.
And maybe in 5 years, if y'all are having some success, maybe you can start chipping in or something. But right now, you can't do it. You can't do it. You can't do it.
But not as an obligation. That's an act of charity.
It's an act of gift. Yeah, it's a gift.
It's a gift. It's not an obligation. There's a different thing here. And so, but this all gets twisted up. So parents, stop it. Stop it. Look at your 18-year-old, you wuss, and say, no. Parents who are wusses are causing this. Grow a backbone. Run down to Walmart. You can buy one on aisle 3. Get you a backbone and look at your little 17-year-old and say, no. No. It's a powerful word. It'll set the next decade free. This is The Ramsey Show. Brought to you by the Every Dollar app. Start budgeting for free today. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's The Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create actual amazing relationships. Our phone number is 888-825-5225. Dr. John Delony, Ramsey personality, host of the Dr. John Delony Show, author of a couple of #1 bestsellers. The latest is Building a Non-Anxious Life. He's my co-host today. Open phones, 888-825-5225. Josh is in Huntsville. Hey, Josh, how are you?
I'm doing great, Dave. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
I knew you were going to say that. John, how are you?
I'm even better than that.
Hey, well, thank you so much for taking my call. I really appreciate and love what you guys are doing to educate the population on so many levels. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
So
How can we help?
So, I'm kind of at a crossroads. I'm 27, and I no longer have to work. It's not exactly what you think, but I'm at a crossroads. Do I go back to school for free and get paid to do it? Do I enjoy this type of retirement, or do I just get a passive job? I mean, where do I go with all this?
That's a little bit vague. It sounds like you're out of the military.
Yes, sir. I served in the U.S. Army, and life didn't go as expected, and I got a lot of injuries. So that passive income I talked about, that's where that comes from.
So you got
And so,
you were
100% disabled?
Sure, yeah, we'll say that.
Okay. So what's your income off the military?
So it's non-taxable. It's $4,400 per month.
Okay, cool. Are you single?
No, I'm lucky. I'm married.
Okay, good. What does she make?
Her gross income is about $36,000.
Okay.
So go ahead, Dave.
At $86,000 a year, you don't have to work anymore. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. All right. What are the natures by the way, thank you for your service. And I'm sorry you were injured in the course of serving your country. We appreciate men.
I'll do it again.
We appreciate men and women like you. What's the nature of your disability, Josh?
It's a long list. I got like over 1,000 pages of documentation, but it's both physical, some mental. I need a total hip replacement. I'm only 27. Bad knees. My back is all tore up. So when it comes to employment, it's a desk job. And I was a loan officer for a long time.
How's your emotional state?
It's ongoing. It takes a lot of work to overcome some of the things you've experienced and seen in life.
I bet.
I'm better than I used to be.
I bet. Well, good for you.
You still working on it?
I work on it every day, probably for the rest of my life.
Outstanding. I like that attitude.
Good for you. Okay.
Well, I think you're asking the wrong question, man. Can I challenge you to ask a fourth question?
I love questions. Go for it.
What do you want to do for the next 60 or 70 years of your life?
You know, that's the darndest thing. People talk about retirement, and they wait for retirement to enjoy their lives. Sitting around the house isn't cracked up, as cracked up as everyone says.
No, it sucks.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah. Man is designed, woman is designed to do things. Couch potato is not a natural state. Yeah, it's not a natural state. So, yeah, John's onto something here. So I think you start asking yourself, okay, chapter 1 was Josh was in the military, saw some stuff, and got the hell beat out of him in the process. Chapter 2 is Josh takes the income and the free education from that chapter 1 experience and goes and becomes a hero in another area. So what's chapter 2? That's the question. It's an encore. You know, like when the band does a really good job and the audience is standing and cheering, so the band comes back out and the curtain comes back up after they've already played a great concert. That's the encore, right?
Yeah.
That's you, dude. What's your encore?
And can I tell you my dream for you is when you turn 50 and you and your wife are celebrating your 25th anniversary, that one of the lesser impressive things about you is your military service. That's my challenge to you.
Yeah, that you went and changed everybody's life doing something else, or you went and built this thing doing something else, or you went and did, and you're known inside your own head and inside your group of friends and people who see you from the outside looking in, you're known as something other than what you're known for today. You're a hero already. You've already got that check mark. Well done. But now there's a whole nother thing. What's the encore?
So you've thought about it. What do you want to do?
Question.
Yeah, what do you want to do? You've thought about
That's a great question. I don't know how I can top my military service.
Oh, easy.
I do know I like business.
Easy.
Okay, you like business.
$1 billion company.
Yeah. I was a millionaire by the time I was 26, but all the property that I owned just about was lower income property. That's a nice way of saying I was a slumlord.
Uh-huh.
That was my first chapter. I was a millionaire by the time I was 26. That's pretty cool. How can I top that?
Yeah.
How can I top that? Well, I did. Many times over. A lot more rewarding being a slumlord, I'll just tell you that. So, not like you were a slumlord. I'm not saying you that. That's not you, Josh. But I'm saying that, how can you top being a millionaire by the time you're 26? It's tough. You can do it.
And the beautiful thing for you is you got a check coming in every month. And so it doesn't.
And they'll pay for you to study to be whatever this next thing is.
That's right. You can go get a degree in counseling. You can go get a degree in banking. You can go be an engineer, architect. All those are sit down jobs. And all of those in some shape, form, or fashion can become work at when you want to work or how you want to work. And that's just four I just read off the top of my head. You can be any number of things.
Yeah. So here's what we're going to do. We have a guy in the Ramsey suite named Ken Coleman that studies careers and studies people finding meaning in their work and teaches people how to do those things. He's got a couple of bestsellers, and he's got a career assessment tool, and I'm going to give it to you for free to say thank you for serving your country, and I'm going to give you the book that goes with it, and I'm also going to send you his book, From Paycheck to Purpose. which is what we've been preaching at you for the last few minutes because we think you're impressive.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Is that cool, brother?
Life comes very fast.
Tell me why you're choked up.
You mentioned finding a new purpose, topping my military career.
Mm-hmm.
Something I struggled with a lot. You know, you lose friends before they're even 21.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, what do I do with my life? If I don't do something great, if I don't find happiness or purpose, I feel like I'm just wasting it compared to my friends.
Here's what you get to do. You get to get up and tip the barista and have a hot cup of delicious coffee, and they don't get to do that. You get to go for a walk. And it's going to be slow because your hips and knees, but you get to go for a walk. You get to see a sunset. You get to live life and see beauty, and that's where you start. And I do think, I mean, I'm with you. I think you have an obligation. You got to live a life and a half now because those guys didn't get to. I think you're right, but it doesn't mean you have to go make $1 bajillion or else you've wasted it. It's not true. Every breath you take is a breath they don't get to take. So keep going, man.
Yeah. The challenge, the definition of success here is intentionality.
That's right.
Be intentional. And we're going to give you some tools and help you do that. You call us back anytime you want, son. We love you. We appreciate you. Hold on. Christian's going to pick up and take care of you. Dr. John Delony, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Thank you for joining us, America. Selling a house the Ramsey way makes homeownership a blessing instead of a curse. When you buy a home the wrong way, it makes you broker. That's why they call them brokers. So, I mean, you need to buy a house in a way that causes you to... You've never heard that, John?
No.
Golly.
That's the oldest old man joke I've heard in a long time.
That's the best dad joke ever. I've been using that for 30 years, man.
That's why they call them brokers. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Seriously, I mean, when broke people buy a house, it makes them broker. That's what happens. It's a problem. We see it all the time. And so getting yourself straightened around and then getting with a good real estate agent that knows what they're doing to help you find the right house and help you sell your home if you're trying to do that. And in a weird market like this market's weird. Interest rates are up. People are buying houses. And prices are going up. It's weird. And so it's not like the market went down. It didn't. We told you it wasn't going to, by the way. So if you want to find the top agent in your area that we have vetted and that we trust to be this, and I've had my real estate license since 1978, and I trained the team that does the vetting here because I don't want to put my name, Ramsey Trusted, on these agents unless they actually know what the flip they're doing. And here's an idea. If you're a real estate agent, you ought to sell a house occasionally. Like, you know, your uncle who just got his dadgum license and he thinks he ought to list your largest asset. I don't think so. I think you ought to have like somebody that sold like 60 houses or 100 houses last year, or 200 houses, knows what they're doing, right? So Ramsey Trusted agents are high octane, high protein. They've been vetted by us. We trust them. That's why we send them to our friends, you. Ramsey Trusted real estate agents. You can find one for free at RamseySolutions.com/agent. They're our endorsed local providers for your local city, your local neighborhood. Olivia is with us in Houston. Hi, Olivia. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Better than we deserve. What's up?
Okay. So kind of a lot of going on with my situation right now, but I might possibly be becoming a kidney donor for a family member, and I guess I just need to know, like, does this put me in storm mode, or how do I best prepare for this situation?
Wow. Impressive act of generosity.
Yeah, tell us about the story. What's going on?
So my aunt's been dealing with the kidney disease for a few years now, and one of her kidneys is completely non-functioning anymore, and the other one is about at 11-12% functionality.
Ooh.
So she's on the donor list, and none of, like, her daughter's not a blood type match, and her husband and her sister are, but because of other health conditions are not candidates. And I don't know, it's just been on my heart and to try to find out if
are you a match? Oh, you don't even know if you're a match.
So I just found out I am a blood match, but I still need to undergo all the other testing because it's pretty thorough testing. You know, they want to make sure you don't have any other pre-existing conditions, or mostly they want to make sure your blood pressure is good and that you're not diabetic. But there is, like, further testing. I'm just waiting on them to call me back to get that set up. But I know that once I undergo that testing, things are going to move pretty fast because of the percentage that she's at. So I'm just kind of wanting to make sure I have all my ducks in a row.
So assuming the testing comes through, have you made the decision 100% to do this?
I have, and
Okay.
you know, I just want to be able to make sure that I can get all my questions answered with the doctors. But
Yeah.
I've pretty much made the decision that yes, I want to move forward with this. You know, assuming everything is good to go.
Well, the second question then I would learn about, if I'm you, is what's the downtime associated with this? And
Okay.
go ahead.
I was just going to say it's a 6-week recovery, and I've been doing kind of my reading and my research on it so far. And this is one of the things I'd have to ask the team, the medical team. But I know it's a 6-week recovery. I don't know if I need to fully take that full time off of work just because I sit down all day. But, you know, I also don't know how that's going to go with my recovery. So I'm expecting it to be the full 6 weeks for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Is your aunt and uncle in a position to help out with some of your bills while you're pulled off?
I'm not sure.
Well, that would mean no.
I'm not sure because I know that for sure as far as the actual procedure goes, her insurance pays for everything. I don't come.
No, we're talking about your lost income.
Yeah.
Do they have
Yes, sir.
do they have money to give you?
So I am married, and my husband, you know, has his income. So I think with his income alone, we're good. I mean, his income essentially pays for all the bills.
What is his income?
On the low end, it's like 45 right now, but it can be a little over 6,000 a month.
You've said the words I think several times. Here's what is going to be important for you. I want you to know. I want you and your husband to do a budget that's realistic.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I have it. It's on my phone. And
No, I know. I just want you to be able to rest. This is a big decision you're making, and it's one that's very noble, and it's incredible, and it's incredibly generous. But you're going into this, well, you kind of, you know, like you and your uncle and your aunt need to sit around a table, and you all need to look at each other in the eye and say, I'm about to do this thing. And not just have a doctor communicate between you or whatever. Like, you all need to sit down and be adults and sit down and have this hard conversation. I'm about to make this sacrifice for you, and I'm grateful, and I want you to be okay. And if there's going to be a budget shortfall in your house, it's not contingent, but if you need that and you think they can help out and they just don't even know, then I don't have any moral problem with saying, this is going to cost us this much for me to do this, and my rent is this. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yes,
But I just want you to have those numbers. I want you to be firm on those numbers and not think like, oh, I think we're going to be okay, and I think they don't have it, and I think that there's a lot of I thinks, and I want you just to be concrete going into this thing because there's going to be a lot of variables regardless of what happens, and so I want you to shore up all the variables that are just hanging out there.
And the answer to your question is yes, I would push pause on your Total Money Makeover baby steps and pile up cash starting today. Until you know what's going to happen here. And as soon as you know what's going to happen, if you are going to be a donor and you do have a 6-week downtime, then, when you come back from that, you push play again.
Okay.
Yeah, much because you're going into a storm. The good news is you've had a good forecast, and so you can detail out the forecast and know exactly what the storm's going to look like, or as close to exact as we can possibly do with a medical procedure. But we know, okay, we're going to have 4 weeks of discomfort and 2 weeks at work that is uncomfortable. That's my 6-week recovery, or it's 3 and 3, or it's 6 period. Don't go back to work, or it's I don't know. You need to get that nailed down, and then you need to get nailed down what your budget looks like, and then you pile and you stack cash because you have a very defined storm that you're walking into. of your own choosing. And then when you come out the other side of it, you just take that cash and push play and start back on your get out of debt or whatever baby step you're on mode, get back and moving again on that. And that's exactly how you do it. So you're an incredible young lady. That's pretty cool. I've known a handful of folks that did this. I think the most unusual one I met was a pastor. I was speaking at his church, and he, in his prayer time, had a name pop into his head. And he ended up meeting the guy and donated his kidney to a perfect stranger.
Wow.
This name popped into his head. And it was about 2 years later. But he journaled it all out. He had it all written down. And he was just nonplussed about it. He was just, matter of fact, it's like, well, that's what you do.
Wow.
It was like, it's not, it's what.
I try to give James to give us high fives. He won't even give us that.
Much less a kidney.
Not a kidney, yeah.
This is the Ramsey Show. That's awful. Thanks for joining us, America. Dr. John Delony, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host. You're welcome to drop by and visit with us in the lobby of Ramsey Solutions. Watch this show happen. We do it on the glass every Monday through Friday from 1 to 4. It's free, and it's worth every dollar you pay. So come by and hang out. And the coffee's free. The homemade cookies smells like Mama's kitchen when you walk in here. The girls over at Baker Street Cafe do a great job, and we'd love to have you join us. In the middle of that lobby is the debt-free stage, and JC is on the debt-free stage. Hi, JC. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Better than I deserve. Where do you live?
Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
Ah, very cool. And how much debt have you paid off?
$138,494.
Good for you. How long did that take?
Took just about 4 years.
Good for you. And your range of income during that time?
So we started at $113,000 up to about $140,000 and then down to $65,000.
Okay, cool. And what kind of debt was the $138,000?
Some few credit cards, a family car loan, and the majority, about $125,000, was student loan debt.
Whoa, okay. All right, cool. Very cool. So what happened 4 years plus ago that made you decide to get after it?
So we had heard of Dave Ramsey several years prior, and then about December of 2019, we had started attending a new church in Allentown, Pennsylvania, and they were offering FPU.
Oh, very cool.
I had mentioned it to my parents. They were like, we're going to pay for that for Christmas. It's your Christmas gift.
All right. Way to go, Mom and Dad. I like you.
So we started the class in person January 2020. A few months later, we didn't get to finish in person the last few classes because of COVID.
Yeah. What church was this?
Faith Church in Allentown.
Okay. Very nice. Good. Okay. And so you went through the class but finished online.
Yep, finished online. At first my husband was a little hesitant to begin the class. He wasn't quite sure. Most of the debt was his that he brought into the marriage. And then after the first class, he was like on board and he was telling everyone about it. We started just hustling during COVID. Fortunately, we were able to kind of make some extra money, with side hustles, and just working as much as we could. Fortunately, our jobs, allowed us to continue
What is your
down
job?
the path. So I am a clinical dental hygienist and a dental hygiene educator. So I work at the local community college.
Ah, okay. All right, cool. So that allowed you to work extra.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And neither of us, fortunately, were, had a loss of income during that time.
Okay. And you just plowed right through it.
Yep.
Okay. So tell us the rest of the story.
So
You can do it.
So during our journey, we were able to, my husband, I owe it to him, he did most of the side hustle work, really. He built furniture out of old skis, which is probably his favorite side hustle. He worked at a ski resort on the weekends, teaching snowboarding lessons, and then
That's a good side hustle.
yeah, it was a good side hustle. And we got to lead a few FPU courses
Oh, wow, thanks.
along the way.
Very cool.
And then this past January, on my birthday, we were on our way home from dinner, and he was in a car accident and didn't make it.
I'm sorry.
So
How long had you all been married?
6 years.
Wow. What was his name?
Andrew.
Wow.
So
So this is his debt-free screen.
oh, it's his for
sure.
sure. Yeah, he's supposed to be here.
For sure. He is.
He's here.
Yeah.
He's here.
Yeah, he is supposed to be. It's wrong. It's absolutely wrong. Wow. Wow. So how proud do you think he is right now that you're doing this?
Very.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty hard, girl. I'm surprised you did this. That's
I had to.
yeah.
He would've done- he would've
You
done it
really
without
didn't
me.
have a choice, did you? Yeah. Yeah. It was burning inside of you. Yeah, I understand.
Is
It's
there
very
a funny
hard,
story he would tell about y'all's adventure?
I don't know. I don't know.
What was the biggest fight you all had about money while you were doing all this stuff?
It was probably him wanting to go do something that we shouldn't.
Oh, okay.
Going out to dinner.
So he's the free spirit.
Oh, yes.
Big time. And you were
for
the
sure.
nerd.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, he was making lawn furniture out of skis, so
yeah, but they were pretty cool.
I saw pictures of them. They're amazing, man.
Yeah, those are neat. Those are neat. Adirondack chairs out of old snow skis. Yeah.
Incredible. And do y'all have any little ones?
We do. We have a little girl, Matilda. She'll be 2 in July. Yep.
Wow.
He's a pretty amazing dad.
Oh, the best.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, and here's Matilda. Okay, cool. So who is this that came with you? Your mom and dad
It's
or his?
my mom and dad.
Okay,
And
cool.
then the friends that went through our FPU class.
No, you were teaching the FPU class. They went through and got
Yeah.
debt free. I met them at the break.
Yep,
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow. Very, very cool. So after all of this tragedy and heartbreak, was the whole debt-free journey worth it in the middle of all of that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, thank
just-
God you don't have debt.
Oh,
to deal
thank
with.
God. Thank God. Yeah. I mean, we were really, we were within like $15,000 of finishing when the accident happened. Thankfully, with following the baby steps, we had our defense. It did bring a lot of peace, knowing that, we didn't really have to worry about the finances through
So
everything.
you had a good life insurance policy in place, is what
Yeah.
you're saying.
Thanks to Xander.
Yeah. Wow. Way to go.
Yeah.
Thanks to Andrew.
I know.
Xander sold
I
it
know,
to
they
him, but
did.
thanks to Andrew. Way to go, Andrew.
And hey, I've also
That's a
I've
good
often
dad.
told widows and husbands, give your wife the gift of being able to take a few months and just be real sad, right? And you're able to just look at that beautiful girl, man. Look at that beautiful girl. But you had the opportunity to just be sad, right? And just
Exactly.
grieve and be with your friends and family and community during that like shape-shifting moment in your life.
Wow.
What a blessing amidst an awful storm, man.
Well, I'm proud of him, and I'm proud of you for having the courage to get on here and do this in his honor. Way to go. That
And
was
she's
hard-
going to
that's
watch
hard.
videos of this when she's older, and this is how legacies get changed.
She's definitely an FPU baby.
Yeah, between teaching the class and going through the class, somewhere in there we had a baby.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Okay. That's funny. Oh, very, very good. Well, JC, we're proud of you. We love you. Thank you for having the courage to tell the story and to honor him in the process. We honor him as well. And fabulously done. Well done.
Big shout out to Andrew and
Amen.
The legacy he left.
All right, it's JC and Andrew from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. $138,000 paid off in 4 years, making $113 to $140 to $65. Counted down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1. We're debt free.
Yeah! Wow. I'm not crying, you're crying.
Nope, I'm not crying. You're crying.
I think my allergies just acted up. Oh, my gosh. Wow. That's powerful.
That's courage and bravery right there, Dave.
Well, it is. And it just illustrates that we don't know what we don't know. And so stuff as ridiculous as life insurance is hard subject to talk about. Stuff as ridiculous as having a will. Stuff as ridiculous as getting out of debt, set your family on a solid foundation, because you just don't freaking know.
And when people, Dave, come after us about, why would I pay off my mortgage when the interest rate's so low? I don't want to pay off my student loans. I want to put it in the market and do this.
Right there.
This is why.
Right there.
Right here.
Right there. That little, beautiful baby girl.
And we're
Right
looking at a mom and a wife that gets to breathe amidst all that pain because they decided as a couple several years ago, no more.
Yeah. It's powerful.
Good
so
for you,
proud
Jason.
of y'all. Way to go, JC. You're a hero. Absolute hero, Andrew. This is The Ramsey Show. Our scripture of the day, Proverbs 14:23. In all toil there is profit, but mere talk tends only to poverty. Nelson Mandela said, money won't create success. The freedom to make it will. Ooh, yes, that would be true. That would be true. Natalie is with us, and Natalie is in Columbus, Ohio. Hi, Natalie. Welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Hi, Dave. Hi, John. Thank you so much for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
I am a 21-year-old nurse. I am a Ramsey follower on baby step 2. I've paid off $90,000 in student loans. I have $10,000 left. I am looking advice on my situation. I'm dating somebody with a large net worth. He had a large net worth when we began dating, but his dad passed in June of 2023 and inherited a large estate. We are talking about our future plans, and I'm so incredibly grateful to be in this situation. It's his parents' legacy, but I'm feeling a large amount of guilt for the amount of money that we have access to at our age, and the budget that we are talking about for our home and land. I also feel that I'm not contributing anything to the situation, so just looking for some advice. I can go over.
Well, you're not contributing money on a percentage basis to the situation. That's a fact. But you are contributing to the situation. You're 50% of the relationship. So there's a, if you only measure the quality of a relationship based on the financial contribution, then we don't have a real relationship. So the financial is just part of the contribution. My wife has not worked outside the home in 38 years. Do you think she hasn't contributed? Do you think she feels guilty? No, it would be the answer to both, by the way. Not even close. Yeah. She reminds me when she contributes.
Yeah. Natalie, this story has plagued you your whole life. Who told you you're not enough?
No one. I think that I just didn't grow up with a lot of money, and I just kind of pictured my whole life blue collar.
That's right.
And I've been into this incredible situation.
The money
like
freaks you out. The money freaks you out. Yeah.
Because when you were growing up,
Totally.
money was for other people, not for you. Right?
Yes.
And it scares you to death.
So here's the thing, okay? The word guilty is a dangerous word in this, okay? I feel guilty. You should feel guilty when you have money only if you stole it. If you earned it, you should not feel guilty. If your boyfriend's mom and dad did a great job and left it to their son who they loved dearly, he should not feel guilt. He didn't do anything wrong. And you should not feel guilt for marrying a man whose mom and dad left him a bunch of money and also who had a net worth before that. What is the total dollars we're talking about here?
So after taxes and splitting it 50-50 with his brother, it's going to be about $4.5 million.
And then how much did he have already?
When we began dating, it was between $1 million and $2 million. He makes $135 a year, and I make $70.
Okay, and so he's going to be about $7 million when y'all get married. How old is he?
He's 32 and I'm 29.
Okay, all right, excellent. Okay, I don't know how to tell you to be okay with this because it first thing you do is you say, when my daughters were teenagers, they had this silly thing they said awkward turtle, like a turtle on its back. It's awkward. Can't roll over, can't move, is just flailing about, you know what I'm saying? And so if they were having an awkward conversation, they would just say awkward turtle. They would just say out loud, this is awkward. And first thing we can do is just say out loud, this is awkward. It's normal for you to feel some weirdness because this is weird. It's not a normal path, agreed?
Agreed.
So if we just say out loud, this is weird. I've never done this before. I've never dated a guy with $7 million before. I never dreamed I would date a guy. In all of my thinking about dating people, I never came up with a dating scenario in my mind that was $7 million, and here I am. So this is awkward and weird.
Even better, when you got your job making 70, you thought you were rich, didn't you?
Totally.
Yes. You'd won.
I was.
And he makes twice that, so he's twice rich.
And your boyfriend was like, hold my beer. Here's $7 million, right? Okay, what kind of house are you going to build?
We're thinking about 1 to 1.3
That's
on a
perfectly
house,
reasonable out of 7.
Easy
Perfectly
peasy.
reasonable.
$30,000 on a wedding.
Perfectly reasonable out of $7 million.
Just pay cash for the wedding and be smart about
Is there any crazy in his family or crazy in your family that's rolling their eyes at you two?
They know about our situation, not about specific numbers.
No, I said crazy.
I would say
Is
Yes,
there
I would
crazy
say we
people
do.
in one of your family that are going to roll their eyes at this whole thing?
possibly, yes.
Yeah. Okay. And that's running through your head too.
Yeah, I don't want them to
Yeah. In hillbilly land where I grew up,
rubbing it in their face.
yeah, I don't care. You didn't rub anything in their face.
They can choose to pick it up and rub it on their own face, but you're not. I can tell on the phone that you're a kind, generous person. You're a nurse for a living. You serve others for a living. You're not going to rub this in anybody's face.
But jealous people and envy people in the noble hillbilly culture I grew up in, they would say things like, "You're getting above your raisin." And I'm like, a raisin?
You're forgetting your roots.
Hey, raisin? What's a raisin got to do with this? Oh, my raisin. Oh, my raising. Oh, now I got it. Okay. But yeah, it's that same kind of stuff, right? It's envy and jealousy and that kind of stuff. And it floats around in most families, certainly in most communities. And so, you feel that. And so the tough thing is that you're going to have to you're not going to have some money problems that other people have, but you're going to have some different problems.
Yes, and I think that's part of it. I feel like the weight of the responsibility.
Good. That's wisdom.
But
that's
also,
wisdom.
Natalie, you've tell me I'm wrong. It's been your job to make sure everybody was okay your whole life.
Yes, and with my job.
Yep.
Okay, and now you're just got $7 million. You're going to be living in a $1.2 million house. You're going to be married, and the day you get married, you're going to be a multimillionaire. And it's not your job to manage how other people in your family choose to use that and weaponize it against you, because you can't. It's not a thing you can even control. You got to let it go. What you can do is to continue to be a person of character like you already are, and you and your husband go build and make an amazing life and be able to be this generous to your kids and grandkids when the time comes.
Do good.
Yeah.
Just do good.
But stop managing the other adults in your life. You can't.
Be good and do good.
Absolutely.
Be good
May I
and do
ask
good.
a follow-up question to this?
Quick. Quick.
I actually
Quick.
Yeah, go for it.
Hello?
I told him to hold off from an engagement until I pay off my debt. Do you think that that's reasonable?
No, it's ridiculous.
No, it has nothing to do with the conversation. You're trying to earn your way into this.
Yeah,
you
you're
can't
trying-
stop earning your way into this.
Perfect.
I'm not a contributor. Yes, you are.
Yes, you are. He loves you.
You're freaking Natalie. That says contributor right there. Okay? You're not going to make $7 million between now and the wedding. This ain't going to even up.
In fact, I want, for the spiritual exercise, I want you to not do that, because I want you to feel that discomfort. He's marrying you despite your the terrible financial situation.
You awful person, you.
Yeah.
He lifted you up. Oh, my gosh.
That
Come
last
on.
10 grand. You've paid
Come
off
on.
$1 jillion. You're amazing.
You're amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
he picked you for a reason, okay?
Yes.
Yeah,
I
'cause
picked
there's
him for a reason too,
yeah,
not because of.
I know
of
there's
the
not, but there's
situation.
nothing in here that's gold digging. This is the opposite end of gold digging on the spectrum. You don't even know what that is, probably. But yeah, a lady who is trying to marry someone for their money is a gold digger. Okay, you're the opposite end of this. It's like you're almost not doing this because of the money. Yeah,
Be
you're
generous,
great. You're
be
awesome.
kind,
You're
and
awesome.
continue to love well.
Listen, it's you and him. Look at each other, and anybody that doesn't like it, oh well. Next. There you go. Trolls live under bridges. Keep that in mind. Whew. That puts this hour of the Ramsey Show in the books. We'll be back with you before you know it. In the meantime, remember, there's ultimately only one way to financial peace, and that's to walk daily with the Prince of Peace, Christ Jesus.